Hello everybody and welcome to the power rankings for the week 2 of season 4 of the NPCC, the National Pokemon Competitive Conference. You're here with Coach Oak. Tsunami unfortunately is not able to join us. I know this video is also a little late. I will explain briefly before we jump into things on everything like that. So we've both had crazy weeks of just life changes and stuff like that. We tried a couple times to get things to work out to record together. And it didn't end up working out. Last minute things in life came up and we had to postpone. And also we were waiting on the last couple games. So yeah, things happened. He's now gone for a little bit, so still want to get this out. I don't know if he ever had time to see the last game to finish this list, so I don't have it. But here you go. You've got Coach Oak. Hopefully you will have next week have Tsunami and Coach Oak back together again. I miss them already. But anyways, we will jump right in to the power rankings that I have here. Based on our first 2 weeks, obviously after this there is some interesting battles still to come, and some team changes and things like that that are coming down the pipe. So this is just where we're at in this point in the season after the first 2 weeks of games. So as you can see, we have all my power rankings on the left-hand side for this time. We have in number 16 the New Jersey Brobats, and they played this week. Let me get my notes out here. They played the Tasmania Toxicroaks. They lost 4-0 after leaving the battle a little early. So, anyways, it was a 4-0 technically. I believe it was a 4-2, but it was a 4-0. Actually, I think it was 4-4 technically. But anyways, it was 4-0 win for the Toxicroaks. Brobats really need to do a better job at scouting out their Z-moves. Made a few massive overswitches around a Zapdos, or around with Zapdos, and then it kind of turned around in the match, and Zapdos just kind of lived, and, you know, a little later, on an Earth Power. Yes, an Earth Power. Watch the battle. It was interesting. And there was just some things that, you know, a lot of over-predicting completely unnecessarily. Some very interesting sets, like having nothing really to hit the Empoleon with the Zapdos was interesting. And things like going against a flying type, going into a bug from a fighting type, and being confused when they hit a flying move, saying you got red hard. Well, no, it's super effective against both. That's not really getting red. That's just how things go. It was a good middle ground play by your opponent. You didn't predict that middle ground play at all, and you went into a common weakness against stab. So just something like that. I do think the Brobats with some team changes and some prep changes can definitely make their way out of this 100%, but for right now they are my number 16 team. At number 15 we have the Detroit Leopards, who played... Where'd he go? Oh yes, this was a forfeit loss for the Leopards. So there's not much to say here. The Bewares got a 3-0 forfeit win. So yeah, not much to say here. Number 15 in the power rankings. They had a pretty good game their first week, which is why they are ahead of the Brobats here. But anyways, let's move on to the New York Cosmog, who lost 3-0 to the Green Bay Pikachus. When they had a very setup sweeper kind of team and got absolutely blown back by hyper offense, even super offensive Alola Mola, which was interesting to see on the Pikachu side, but we'll get there later. Yeah, they kind of got chipped down by hazards and just got really controlled with hyper offense, and they really didn't have enough defense to stop the onslaught. And unfortunately, if you bring setup sweepers versus hyper offense, you're going to be in a bit of trouble because you're probably not going to get a chance to set them up. And the opponent didn't let them get set up. And therefore, you unfortunately get a loss. This is 0-2 for the Cosmog, their first week being controversial. But yeah, so they are sitting at 14. However, they definitely could. By controversial, I mean hacks. Hacks. And more hacks. So they definitely can pull out of the spot 100%. We look forward to seeing that as the season goes on. Hopefully, little Nebby can pick up some big wins. Next up, we have the Chicago Shaman Sky, who is the Joliet Lycanrocs, just reincarnated, rebranded. Yeah, so they played. Where'd it go? There we go. They played the Dumperm Linoons, lost 0-3. So they are 1-1, and they did pick up that win versus the Cosmogs first week. However, they really overpredicted around Altaria, having a super effective move to hit it and not clicking it 4 times in a row when they could have was interesting to watch. But yeah, really, you got Toxic Spikes got up against you, and your opponent had a super stally team, and your team was weak to it. Not being able to clear the T-Spikes was unfortunate, and having Vaporeon only having Hidden Power Grass against a team with multiple Steel types, multiple Fire types, and whatnot, just you could not touch so many Mons with your Vaporeon that it just let them sit in there, outstall your Vaporeon, and just let things get worn down. Cover any moves you might make and really put you in bad spots every time that Vaporeon hit the field. If anything, it was really a detriment to you and just, made things more annoying by not being able to hit pretty well anything. I can't fault too much for the Ditto not copying a sub, though, as I had no idea about that either. So I learned, just like you said you learned, so as long as you don't do it again, we're good. It's one that went into my mind bank. I thought Ditto's copied subs. So, good to know. So I can't fault you too much there. I think the rest of my notes for this game will go when we talk about the Linoon side, so let's put a hold on that until then. Coming in at number 12, we do have the Chicago Bewares, who did pick up their forfeit win. So they are 1-1. I put them kind of in the spot because I still like the team. They were in 16th spot in the power rankings after last week, but I think getting that one win puts them in a decent spot, and the ball obviously didn't suit them do better. Got a great team, and I feel comfortable putting them in the spot where viewing it as kind of a neutrally positive week, since we have more games to place teams around it. Anyways, I hope that made sense. I know it seems kind of weird that they moved up getting a forfeit win, but anyways, that's how it is. My brain doesn't always work quite logically, but at the same time, it's very logical. So, depends how hard you think about it. Next up, we have number 11, the Washington Red Skitty, who faced the Battlefield Torracats. And it was a 3-0 win for the Torracats. So we're kind of going to talk about both these teams here, as you do see number 10 is the Battlefield Torracats. Did pick up the win over the Red Skitty. And yeah, so let's talk about this battle a little bit. Primarina absolutely did Primarina things, and it was really nice to see. Just sit in, blast things, scares out things like Darm, hits everything hard neutrally, just puts holes that your rest of your team can hopefully clean up. However, unfortunately for the Red Skitty, the Scarf Rotom Heat messed them up big time, especially after the T-Wave from Regirock. Regirock actually helping out, so our hate on Regirock, okay, it can T-Wave things, I guess, before dying. But anyways, getting the T-Wave onto the Genesect on the turn at Shift Gear, just to keep its kind of neutral speed, enough to let the Rotom clean up was very nice. Good work for the Regirock and the Rotom Heat. Caused a lot of problems. Bloomtoon Mimikyu is very nice. It's not something you see a lot of, but it was very good to take out that Piloswine, as the lack of walls on the Red Skitty's team really became kind of evident. They have bulky offense, but not a ton of real true walls. Even Piloswine is not really a true wall without reliable recovery. Or even, I don't even know, does it get rest, I guess? But anyways. So, and Shaman did absolutely massive things by just being a wall leech seeding things and keeping itself alive and just really stalling everything out. And I thought that was very good by the Torcat, so good job. Red Skitty are falling to 0-2, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. I don't want to be lying to you here, folks. Yes, they do fall to 0-2. However, they've both been kind of matches within their sight, and I feel like they can, from here go and pick up some wins, and hopefully they can push their way up the rankings from their number 11 spot. They have showed good battling, showed good prep. Things just haven't worked out with them. T-Wave has been, or Paralysis has been their nemesis for 2 straight weeks now, which is very unfortunate. And yeah. Number 19, we have the Iowa Luchas, who picked up a 4-0 loss versus the Norwich Skitty after picking up a win with Setup Mew in week 1. So, unfortunately, Mega Venusaur is Mega Venusaur. That's the main thing to know about that match. However, kind of more points tilting after the Venu sat in and did the Venu things that make everyone angry. It's so tough to do. It's way easier said than done on my side, but try not to go on tilt. It really will not help any of your other plays. Also, the main problem I had here, you didn't know what Kamala did. And you said that yourself. I don't know what this thing does. You see it on the team list of your opponent. You should probably look that up before you play that opponent to find out what kind of their standard, ask around. I know you said there was no standard sets on Smogon, but there's other ways to find out what that thing does. Potentially, you can phone a friend, take those lifelines, find out what the thing does before you face the thing, because that's always helpful. Yeah. Yeah, that's about all I have to say on that battle for the Halucha side. So let's move on to number 8. We have the Blackthorn City Frogadier. I don't actually know how to say that mon's name. Frogadiers? Frogadiers? Frogadiers. I think it's Frogadiers. There we go. Blackthorn City Frogadiers. I don't use Frogadier. Anyways. Now that you know way too much about my opinion on Frogadier, we do have the Frogadiers picking up a 2-0 loss to the Minnesota Wild Charge. Yeah, just a few little notes. Wild Charge have been impressive this season, so can't say too much. However, this definitely could have been a 6-0. A Woodhammer crit versus Mega Mawile from Bulu kind of bailed that out. Mega Mawile setting up pretty well on turn 1, because you switched into a Hazard Setter versus a Mega Mawile. That thing puts up a Sword Stance. Oh my. That's a Sword Stance Mega Mawile, and you're going into something to set up hazards. You have to threaten that thing out, or do something more than put up a Hazard Setter. Because at that point, oh boy, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to be down a lot of mons. Luckily, Bulu did enough to bail that out. And after that, you played pretty well. Yeah, and Togetic play was solid. Getting a kill with Togetic, good work. And yeah, so I mean, Bulu got 3 crits this match, so good work for Bulu. It could have been worse. However, Brigadiers do pick up a 2-0 loss. I believe this does put them at 0-2. Am I crazy? No, I think this is 1-1. 1-1. Let me double check. Go back to my week 1 notes for a second. Yeah, this puts them 1-1 after picking up a 3-0 win in the first week, which is why they're kind of in the middle of these rankings. They've played fairly well outside of Mega Mawile, which could have made this much worse for them. But that's something to learn. Mega Mawile is not something you see in leagues all that often because it is normally banned for that fact that it's terrifying once it puts up a Sword Stance, as well as other reasons. But yeah, hope to see kind of going from this neutral spot, and hopefully you can continue up the rankings with some good prep and some good play. And hopefully a better day, as I know you said in your video, you were not having a great day at the time you battled. So hopefully that will help. Obviously that matters, but it's hard for me to take that into account with these type of things. Number 7, we have the Green Bay. So next up, we have the number 7 Green Bay Pikachus, who picked up the win over the Cosmogs, as talked about. Hyper offense to beat setup team. Good work, good prep. Knowing your opponent was very important here, I feel like. Even Alola physical Alola putting in a lot of work, as it was very offensive for what you normally see Alola was very good, putting up the toxic spikes to help out with kind of the hyper offense, getting everything in range, and letting things not be able to sit in if there was that one thing that stopped you. Was very smart as well. Nice little addition. I do like toxic spikes, especially in that kind of scenario. So I appreciate that prep. I appreciate that play. Picked up your first win, moved to 1-1, and you moved up to 7th in the power rankings. Good job. Keep it going. Number 6, we have the Deportivo Primarinas, who won 2-1 on timer against Vulpix City, which I'm noticing is spelled wrong on my slides. 1 second, everybody. And you never saw that. We're back with the slides updated to spell Vulpix right, because that thing's been around since Gen 1. I shouldn't be spelling that wrong. Anyways, I'm going to blame Tsunami. He made the base of the slides. I'm going to blame him, even though he's not here, had nothing to do with making them. Anyways, you can tell him I said that. I don't mind. I'll take a seat. He likes Empoleon. He deserves it. Anyways, we have the Vulpix City losing to the Primarinas 2-1 on timer, yet coming in 1 spot ahead of them on the power rankings. Partly due, in part, to the Week 1 results, where after Week 1, the Primarinas were my 16th seed, so they had a long way to move. Vulpix City was my 16th, so they actually moved up 1 spot with the loss. However, the rest of the team was moving around them. It definitely, adjust things, of course. So, this one is a bit hard to evaluate, as there was a bit of recreation at the start. A lot of things that just need to be chipped down, but we didn't see it on the channels as it was exactly. However, the big thing was Scolpede switching into Superior, dying to Leaf Storm and a HP Fire combination with the contrary boost, of course. Yeah, so that was kind of the recreation part, and then obviously coming down to timer is always harder. You could theory other things, but there was a bit of hacks at the end as well. It's kind of another one of those battles where a lot of hacks, a lot of other factors involved, like the first week battle between the Serengrays and the Cosmog. Sorry, not the Serengrays, the Shaman Sky. That one, which has Serengrays. Alright, so the turn to the Braviary sat in and tried to whirlwind out the Aegislash. Getting flinched was extremely unfortunate for Vulpix City. Ironhead, however, does have that chance. It's one of the reasons Aegislash is a monster. And on the Primarina side, I really did not understand the double King Shield attempt, especially when EQ is not contact, so you weren't going to get, you weren't really going to get any attack drops, and as well as you had Hydreigon switch into an Earthquake, which was the play that was kind of coming your way. So I don't know what you predicted there necessarily, but it seemed like you had a really safe play. Didn't take it for little reward if you did end up getting the double King Shield. The Drapion switching into EQ seems very odd. However, with the Shuka, it kind of makes sense. However, I don't know if I'd want to stay in and take the second one. That's kind of one of those where it makes sense as a switch, but you might want to double out. Aromatisse being a setup fodder with a setup mon in, you really are able to set up that Sword Stance Bend Z move with the Lando T. Being able to set up when you know Aromatisse does not instantly threaten you I mean, I don't know what the HP Ice calc, but I don't think Aromatisse was going to have HP Ice in that scenario. You can set up that Swords Dance, then pull the Z move to kind of ensure that thing dies, which unfortunately would have been the difference there for Vulpix City. At the end, kind of sacking the Donphan didn't make sense to me on the Primarina side. I'm assuming that thing had Ice Shard based on the team that Vulpix City had. And if it didn't, that in itself is an issue. But if it did, Ice Shard and Earthquake, even with Donphan's slow speed, even at being low health, it was super threatening to the rest of the Vulpix City's team. So I really don't agree with that play. And of course, at the end, Klefki in versus Aromatisse, not getting the crit you wanted at the right time, getting it one turn too late, this a bit of salt in the wound, and then getting the 1 HP live for the Aromatisse. Very rough, turning a 3-2 into a 2-1. Very unfortunate for Vulpix City. I thought they overall played fairly well. This was a fun battle to watch. There was lots of things going on. From pure entertainment value, this is definitely one of the ones of the week to go check out. And there was a lot of plays which were kind of questionable on both sides, but at the same time it was well played on both sides, if that makes sense. Very back and forth match. Timer adding interesting factors, recreation adding different factors, changing when the timer was. All those things kind of making this a very hard battle to evaluate, which is A, why you're close in the rankings, especially with both having one-on-one records. And, you know, it's kind of going to be a move from here type of battle, which is, you know, something to make us tune in to all those battles coming forward in the NPCC. More fun ones to come. Moving on to our number 4 team, we have the Norwich Skitty, who piloted Mega Venusaur to a 4-0, I believe I said, win? Where'd that battle? Yeah, 4-0 win. I think you were a little bit too reckless with some of your mons. However, hey, it worked out for you. Mega Venusaur did Mega Venusaur things, put you into good positions. You were able to put yourself in, conserve your synthesis as much as possible, which was good. Put yourself in a position to get the offense you needed. Keep chipping everything down. Do what you need to do, and eventually you are able to pick off enough mons to pick up the 4-0 win. Very solid win. This is your second win. You are at 2-0. Moving in this top group, your first win was nowhere near as convincing. However, you've got a great team. You've been playing fairly well, and I really hope to see this continue. But I think this is really a case of you're ranked here because I was more impressed by the other teams rather than not being impressed by you. So good work to Jack and the Don Fanatic and Norwich Skitty. Hopefully you will continue from here. You know, 2-0. It's a good start. See how you do. Moving on to number 3, we have the Tasmanian Toxicroak, who played the Barobats and picked up the 4-0 win, moving to 2-0. And I thought they just, you know, they played really well. They were able to kind of let Empoleon do damage, continually put off the damage it needed to. That's not the right person. I explained this backwards, I think the other side. I'm sorry. But, when the time of the Barobats, the Zapdos was both overpredicted with and overpredicted around in this battle, which made it kind of confusing. Toxicroak has the Zapdos. You did not bringing something for the Empoleon felt weird, but at the same time, it would have been fine if you hadn't just overpredicted around it so much. However, later you were able to put Zapdos in a position where your opponent had to overpredict around it, as you were able to just be a fat Zapdos and sit in and do off enough damage to cause lots of problems. Zapdos living the Earth Power was, you know, it's gutsy to stay in that situation. It's kind of a weird situation you don't always think of. Good job for you. Make the right play. Yeah. Sorry, my notes got really weird around this match. I think my printer printed them wrong. So, anyways, go watch the battle. It was very good. Toxicroaks did good. Battle was good, and they moved to 2-0 after beating the Red Skitty in week 1 as well. Yeah, sorry, my notes got really messed up on this one. I haven't seen the battle in a couple days because it was out on time, which, means I watched it a while ago, and if my notes got messed up, I don't remember it that well. But I do remember it being a very good match, and I remember the Talk Shorts doing very well, moving to 2-0, and a dominating position so far in the early stages as one of the teams to watch. As everyone on this kind of slide right here is. But let's move on to number 2 ranked, the Dumfirm Linoons, moving to 2-0 as well, after picking up the 3-0 win, with a very stally team. I don't know whether to commend you or castrate you for this, but at the end of the day, you picked a strategy, you played it really well. Toxic Spikes with Nihai. If you got up the second layer, it would have been even better, as obviously it wouldn't have had to have been so stally. You could have just whittled things down a little better against the Vaporeon, particularly. I think you showed why Skarm Heatran works really well. When Infernape's in, it has to pretty well choose fighting move or fire move. Things like that. You really do play mind games with a lot of mods. Right? They cover each other's weaknesses with not only resistances but immunities very well. Sacking Nihai, I don't know if I agreed with that play too much, just because it's sacrificing a Mon in a battle that you're really stalling out and you're planning to stall out. Every Mon is so important in that situation, especially when you have big things that could take a hit. However, it definitely did work out for you, and kind of evaluated your win cons really well, seeing that Kyurem was the thing that could really do the work sitting in with that substitute, and just, not being able to be taken out ever. So that was good. Identified a win con, you played the strategy really well. While it might not be one of the most entertaining of things to watch, it was definitely interesting to watch, and it was very effective. Especially seeing that you don't always have to go with that strategy, but it worked out very well in this case, and I think it was good prep in order to bring that. However, even more impressive, returning at number 1 is the Minnesota Wild Charge, who did pick up another win this week against the Frogadiers. Yeah, really could have been a 6-0, could have been a 6-0, which would have been a second 6-0. I already said about the Woodhammer crit, which, it is what it is. I won't beat it to death. Played really well. Realized that Mega Mall Wild could put in a lot of work right from the start. A couple things, though. You do have a rain team. Count the rain turns. The game helps you out a lot now. Just make sure you're doing that. Didn't end up being that big of a deal in this game, but you're going to want to make sure you're doing that going forward. And also, you are going to want to keep making plays like that are gutsy, but not necessary, in the sense that you had a eject button Politoed and you didn't risk a switch, but rather let your eject button do its thing and let your opponent overcorrect around it, because it seems so weird to stay in with Politoed versus Bulu that it's kind of the right call. So some of them making those gutsy calls are what you need to do. And I think you pick the right spots to make that, and pick the right spots just to play it safe. So I thought that was very impressive. Second straight week, you've had impressive wins. Great job, 2-0. Anyone on this slide right now is kind of the ones to watch. But right now, you are the one to watch with the Minnesota Wild Charge. Congratulations. Keep it going. I want to see more. Your team so far has proven extremely excellent. Your lack of hazard removal has so far not been, lack of super reliable hazard removal, I should say, has so far not proven to be an issue. Yeah, so let's see where you go from here and how things continue for you. Hope you enjoyed this video already. Again, sorry it is a little bit late. Sorry it's, I don't have Tsunami with me to balance me out. And yeah, but it's been crazy a little bit. The week break is coming at a good time for your analysts. Hopefully, by the time the week 3 battles go up, we are back ready to go, getting these things pumped out much more quickly. Please do your best to keep giving us excellent battles. Hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. Have a nice day, because Coach Oak said so. See you next time.